You won't have time to call an ambulance, but you still might save yourself. If you ever feel a heart attack coming, you have only seconds, 10 of them, maybe less, to decide whether you live long enough to see another sunrise. Picture it. You're alone. The room is quiet except for the faint ticking of the clock, and suddenly there's a pressure in your chest that feels like a fist trying to crush your heart from the inside. It's not a slow build. It's not a polite warning. It hits you like a heavy hand on your shoulder, cold and unyielding, as if death itself has just stepped into the room. Your first instinct might be to reach for the phone, but your fingers are already trembling, your vision beginning to cloud at the edges. You remember the number? Of course you do. But even if you dial it, what then? The voice on the other end will ask where you are, and your mouth might not work well enough to answer. The pain radiates now, up into your jaw, down your left arm, your breath short and shallow. 10 seconds. That's all you have before you lose consciousness, and maybe forever. This is not the moment for panic. It's the moment for action. Action you must know before this very instant, because when it happens, there's no time to think, only to do. You've heard of people collapsing in their own kitchens, found hours later by loved ones who never heard a call for help. Not because they didn't try to cry out, but because the heart steals the breath before the sound ever forms. In those first seconds, every beat matters. Every moment you delay is another moment your heart struggles without enough oxygen, another step towards stillness. You are the only one in the room who can decide what happens next, and there's no second chance. 10 seconds. You can't wait for a knock on the door. You can't count on a neighbor to hear. You can't hope the pain will pass. It won't. This is the truth most people never prepare for. A heart attack, when you're alone, doesn't give you warning. It gives you an ultimatum. And if you've never been told exactly what to do, those precious seconds will slip through your fingers like water, leaving you with nothing but the cold finality of what comes after. I'm telling you this now because when the moment comes, and for some, it will, panic is the enemy. Hesitation, the killer. What you need in those seconds is certainty, a single clear set of actions that will keep you alive long enough for help to arrive. Not in theory, not as advice you half remember from a magazine, as instinct, as reflex, as something your body knows so well it moves before your mind catches up. 10 seconds. Your heart is fighting to keep you here, but it can't do it alone. If you do nothing, those seconds will be your last. But if you know what I'm about to tell you, those same 10 seconds could be the bridge between this moment and the rest of your life. You feel it spreading. A tight, unrelenting band across your chest. Not sharp, not fleeting, heavy, crushing. Your breath is shallow, like you're inhaling through a straw. A bead of sweat slides down your temple, but your skin feels cold. Your fingertips tingle. The room tilts. You steady yourself on the counter, but your knees want to give out. Every instinct tells you to sit down, rest. But that's the trap. If you sink into that chair, you may never stand again. You glance at the door. No one is coming. There's no voice in the next room, no footsteps in the hall, just you and the ticking clock. The seconds are louder now. You try to swallow, but your throat feels tight. Your left arm grows heavy, foreign, like it belongs to someone else. The dizziness swells in waves, and the edges of your vision are turning gray. You want to call for help, but your voice catches in your chest. The silence answers back. If you fall now, no one will know. No one will hear. This is what alone feels like. Every breath measured, every second heavier than the last. And unless you act, it's about to be your last. I've lived long enough to see more than I care to remember. And among those memories are moments that have never left me. Moments when someone thought they had more time. Moments when a man clutched his chest, waved it off, said it was probably indigestion, and then never got up again. Moments when a woman's face went pale as snow, her breath coming shallow, and she whispered she'd be fine if she could just sit for a minute. Moments when help was on the way, but it didn't arrive fast enough. You learn something when you've been around for decades. You see patterns. You see the same mistakes repeated, over and over, across different faces and different names. And when it comes to a heart attack, the mistake I've seen most often is hesitation. Thinking you can wait it out. thinking you can tough it out, believing that if you just rest, the pain will pass. That's the belief that has filled too many graves. I'm not a doctor. I don't wear a stethoscope. I don't have a wall full of framed degrees, but I've been in rooms where the air was heavy with fear, where the clock seemed to scream with every tick, where the difference between life and death came down to what someone did in the space of a few seconds. I've buried friends. I've watched neighbors fade. I've stood in hospital corridors with families who were left with nothing but questions and regret. And I've seen the other side too, the rare miraculous moments where someone did the right thing right away and lived to tell the story. You see, surviving a heart attack when you're alone isn't about luck. It's not about whether the ambulance is 2 blocks away or 10 miles. It's about knowing what to do before the pain hits. It's about training your mind so that in that moment when your chest feels like it's being crushed from the inside, when your breath comes in ragged bursts, when sweat starts pouring down your back, you act without thinking. Because hesitation is deadly. And time is not your friend in those moments. I'm telling you this because I've learned through years of watching life's fragility that the world doesn't slow down for you to get ready. You won't have time to search for instructions. You won't have time to ask someone what to do. If you're alone, you won't even have time to hope that someone notices. And that's the reality most people never want to think about until it's too late. The truth is, you don't need fancy machines, medical training, or a team of experts in the room. You only need a clear head, a body willing to move, and a single action that can keep you alive long enough for help to arrive. I've carried this piece of knowledge for decades. I've repeated it quietly over coffee, shared it at kitchen tables, and told it to my children as if it were a family heirloom, because in a way, it is. I remember the first time I truly understood its importance. A man I knew, strong, young enough to still think of himself as invincible, collapsed in his driveway one morning. He was alone. By the time a neighbor spotted him, it was over. Later, the doctor said if he had done just one simple thing in those first seconds, he might have lived. That haunted me. It still does. And it's why I'm speaking to you now, because I don't want that to be your story. When your chest locks up and the edges of your vision begin to darken, you will not be able to think clearly. Your mind will want to shut down. Your instinct will be to stop moving, to sit, to rest. That's the wrong move. The people who survive are the ones who know what to do and start doing it before those 10 seconds vanish. This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about facing the truth. You may one day be alone when your heart decides it's had enough. And in that moment, you'll either have this knowledge ready to go or you'll wish you did. So listen closely. I'm going to give you the exact thing you need to do. No fluff, no confusion, just the action that can make the difference between never waking up and seeing another sunrise. Because when it's you and only you against the clock, there's no one else to rely on, only what you know and whether you use it. And before we go further, I want you to understand something. This is not a tip to store away in the back of your mind. This is something you practice in your imagination, something you commit to memory like your own name. Because when the moment comes, you will not have the luxury of remembering slowly. You will have to act as if you've done it 100 times before. I've been called many things in my life, old, stubborn, cautious, but if you remember what I'm about to tell you, and one day it keeps you alive, you'll call me something else, right? And you'll be here to say it. Here it is. No medical jargon, no complicated instructions, nothing to memorize except this. Breathe deep and cough hard. Then again, breathe deep and cough hard. You keep doing that over and over in a steady rhythm. The moment you feel that crushing weight in your chest, that dizzy wave that tells you something is very wrong, you don't stop to think. You don't stop to wonder. You start. Deep breath in, cough hard. Deep breath in, cough hard. Each deep breath pulls fresh oxygen into your lungs. Each hard cough forces your chest muscles to contract, squeezing your heart, keeping your blood moving, keeping you conscious just a little longer. Think of it like this. Every breath and every cough is buying you seconds. Seconds that add up to a minute. Minutes that might be the bridge between you and help arriving. And you don't stop. No matter what your body is telling you, no matter how much it wants to quit, you keep the rhythm. Deep breath, cough hard. Say it in your head right now so you'll remember it when it matters. Breathe deep. Cough hard. It's not elegant. It's not comfortable. It won't feel like you're fixing anything. But in those first moments, it's the only thing standing between you and the end. I've told this to friends who brushed it off, who said they'd never remember something so simple. But that's the beauty of it. It's too simple to forget. You can hear my voice in your head if you have to. Deep breath, cough hard. Deep breath, cough hard. The rhythm becomes your lifeline. You don't pause between breaths and coughs. You don't lie down. You don't close your eyes. You stay upright if you can, keep your airway clear, and force your heart to keep working by doing the work for it. Think of each cough as a push, each breath as fuel. Push, fuel, push, fuel. And if you're alone, don't waste those seconds fumbling for your phone until you've started. You can dial with one hand while the other hand grips something to steady yourself, but your lungs and your chest must not stop moving. Breathe deep, cough hard. Breathe deep, cough hard. It's going to feel strange. You may feel like you're fighting your own body, and in a way you are. You're fighting its instinct to shut down. You're forcing it to stay alive long enough for help to find you. I want you to burn this into your memory because when panic takes over, habit is all you'll have. And if that habit is this rhythm, deep breath, cough hard, you might just have the time you need to see the sun again. Every time you take a deep breath, you're filling your lungs with oxygen, fuel your body can't live without. And every time you cough, you're doing something extraordinary without even realizing it. You're squeezing your heart. That sharp contraction forces blood to keep moving through your body, delivering that oxygen to your brain and other organs, even when your heart is struggling to do it on its own. Picture it like a manual pump. Your heart is the pump handle, but during a heart attack, it's slipping, slowing, losing strength. The cough acts like your hand on that handle, forcing it down, keeping the flow going. You're buying yourself time, one push at a time. It's not a cure. Nothing replaces professional help, but it's a bridge. A fragile one, yes, but sometimes that bridge is all you need to cross from collapse to survival. Think of each cough as an extra heartbeat you're giving yourself. That's how powerful it can be. You won't see the seconds you're gaining. You won't feel like you're winning. But inside you, with every breath and cough, you're stealing time away from the heart attack that's trying to take you. That's the urgency here. You're in a race against the clock, and this is the only tool you have in those first moments. So remember, oxygen in, pump it out. Oxygen in, pump it out. This is the fight you can win if you start the moment you feel that first crushing weight in your chest. Don't wait. Don't hope it passes. Those seconds are slipping away whether you act or not. And every cough you make is you grabbing them back. I've seen it work. I've seen it save lives. Not in stories, not in some medical pamphlet, but right there in front of me. A man on the floor of a dusty workshop, alone except for the sound of the rain outside. He'd clutched his chest, eyes wide with panic, and then remembered. Breathe in. Cough hard, over and over. By the time help came, he was pale, sweating, trembling, but alive. I've also seen the other side. Someone who didn't know. They thought it was indigestion, or they told themselves, it'll pass. By the time they realized, they couldn't even stand. Those are the moments that stay with you, the moments that make you wish you could shout this advice into every street, every living room, every lonely kitchen. That's why I'm telling you now, as someone who's outlived too many friends. You can't always count on help being there, but you can count on yourself if you know what to do. A heart attack won't wait for an ambulance. It won't wait for your phone to connect or for someone to notice you've gone quiet. It will take and take fast. But for once, you have a weapon it doesn't expect. Not a pill, not a machine, just your own breath and the strength in your chest. Breathe deep, cough hard. Don't stop until someone's hand is on your shoulder and you know you're safe. Life will throw storms at you when the sky was clear a moment before. You can't control the storm, but you can decide if you're going to lie down in the rain or fight until you see the sun again. That's all this is, a fight, one breath, one cough at a time. And here's what I'll leave you with. Don't keep this to yourself. Don't assume everyone already knows, because they don't. Someone you love might be alone tomorrow, clutching their chest, wishing they had one more chance to hear this. Give it to them now. Share it. Say it out loud. Teach it to your kids, your neighbors, the person you see every morning at the bus stop. You might never know the face you've saved, but one day, somewhere, someone will take that breath, make that cough, and live another sunrise because you passed it on. And if that happens, well, that's the kind of legacy worth leaving.